Hey guys, it's Z. I just want to do a really quick video on dissociative identity disorder and parenting. I know I have mentioned in previous videos that I have kids. I don't think I've ever really said how many kids I have or like any of that. But I have 4 children. I have a daughter who's 13 and 3 boys who are 8, 6, and 4. So the reason I am recording this video is because I had a really interesting interaction with my 8-year-old. It is science fair time, so I had gotten a call on my phone, like from one of those robo dials from the elementary school saying, hey, your kids are gotta pick out their science fair topic, so ask them about it, make sure that gets turned in, blah blah blah. Okay, so I remember having a conversation with the oldest boy and telling him that we needed to come up with his science fair project ideas before he went to sleep. Then I don't remember anything else about that topic. So yesterday I asked him, I'm like, oh my gosh, did we turn in the science fair project ideas? Like, what's going on with that? He was like, Mommy, we had that whole conversation. Like, I told you what I wanted to pick out and everything, and you said it was a fine idea and we would figure it out. And I'm like, okay. So apparently he picked like he wants to do chemical reactions and like explosions and stuff like that. So he originally was thinking about trying to do like one of those baking soda volcanoes, and I told him, like, that's kind of played out and not really a science project, so we're gonna do like the effect on different types of candy in soda, because we all know if you put like a Mentos in, it'll like it'll explode. So I thought it would be really cool to like try different types of candy in soda and see what happens. So he agreed to it. It was all fine. But it's situations like that where clearly my alters had that conversation. I don't even know who the heck had that conversation with him, but my alters had the conversation with him. They came up with an idea. They said it was fine. And now I'm like, okay, let me catch up. I don't think the kids really notice it too terribly much, as far as like, I don't think they notice that I am not always here. I think my oldest, my 13-year-old definitely knows about the people. Like, she knows about Alejandra. She knows about me, of course. But I don't, she hasn't met them all. Well, that's not entirely accurate. My kids have probably met most of my alters except for Stella and the little girl. Stella really doesn't come out around kids unless she absolutely has to, and she's not a very good, like, she's not the person you want dealing with your children. And I do a damn good job to make her happy in the headspace and other ways so that I can avoid her coming out around the kids. But I know they've met the protector. I know they've met Nessa. Now, as far as like introduced, no. But I know for fact for certain the protector's been around the kids. I know for fact for certain Nessa's been around the kids. I know Mr. Smooth's been around the kids. I know pretty much, like I said, pretty much everybody. The housewife has definitely been around the kids. She does a lot of housework and she does a lot of like kid coddling and stuff like that. So I guess I just wanted to make this video to kind of give you an example of how someone can be a functional parent and have DID. I do not have issues with making sure that my kids are fed. I don't have issues with making sure that they go to school every day. I don't have issues with any of that. Like, me and my alters do a very good job of being responsible. So I don't want anybody thinking that like, oh, I'm just abandoning my children and this, that, and the third. Like, the couple of times that I have had situations where like my protector takes over and I black out completely, those happen generally at nighttime after the kids are already asleep and everybody's in bed and everybody is safe. I realize that that's not an ideal situation. Like, obviously you would not want to be doing that, and that's part of the reason why I'm seeking therapy and trying to find somebody who's willing to just deal with me. But unfortunately, my search has not been successful. I have talked to the local teaching hospital on multiple occasions, and I keep getting the runaround with them. I have talked to the battered women's shelters, and they say that I'm too severe of a case for them to be able to offer me therapy. I have talked to the regional behavioral health authority, and they have told me that they don't have anyone who specializes in dissociative disorders who's available currently. Like, I guess their caseload's full or whatever, I don't know. So I have tried to look into online therapy, but I've seen a lot of mixed reviews on BetterHelp and on Try Online Therapy and on other types of online therapy. And part of me is not really willing to be that open and honest with somebody who could literally leave me at the drop of a dime. I ideally would like to find like a psych student or something of that nature who's really interested in dissociative disorders, whose main focus is dissociative disorders. And I would love to be a case study, because I feel like I'm pretty functional for somebody who's been dealing with this for decades by themselves with no therapy. But I know that there's so much more and so much further that I can go. And so I guess my whole thing is, as far as being a parent with DID, we as a system do a really good job of presenting a united front to the outside world. The videos that you see on here are not sensationalized, they're not blown out of proportion, but they are a more intimate look at the alters, a more intimate look at even myself than what I show myself to a lot of people. Like recently we have been able to show ourselves to multiple people a little bit more openly. And it can be kind of dangerous to do so, because there's a lot of hurt and pain and abandonment issues and all of those other things involved with sharing those type of issues and sharing your past traumas and whatnot. But I just don't want anybody thinking that you can't be a parent and have a DID. You definitely can. Children are very adaptable. They're very, very, very resilient. And I'm not saying that everybody who has a mental health condition shouldn't have kids. In fact, I'm saying anybody who wants to have kids should have kids. You should be the best parent that you can possibly be with whatever your circumstances are. And as long as your focus is on raising children who are healthy and happy and well-adjusted and able to deal with life's ups and downs and able to cope with anger and frustration and feelings of whatever they're feeling, then you did a good job. There's no parenting guide that says this is how you parent. There's no perfect way to parent, because every kid is different. Every situation is different. So I just want this video to encourage anybody who is a system or who isn't a system, just anybody who's a parent, period, that no matter what you're facing individually, you can be a kick-ass parent no matter what. Like, it doesn't, just because you have a mental health problem does not mean that you can't be a great parent. You can be a wonderful parent. I talked to my 13-year-old and I was telling her that, at some point I want to do a video with her just kind of talking about it, because she has met Alejandra. Like, they've had some conversations and she knows that's who it is when she comes out. So I feel like, to an extent, having the viewpoint of a child who's old enough to articulate what she's experienced having me as her mother, from looking at the outside looking in, would be really, really helpful. Because I've looked on YouTube and really I've only found one video on all of YouTube, which was from, I want to say it was from Devii +3 or something like that. It was some woman who had one child, she had a little boy. And I think the name of the video was like, he has how many moms or something like that. And that was the only video I could find on DID and parenting. I know that, I want to say Multiplicity and Me is going to be supposedly doing a live stream or a video or something this evening or later today on parenting, because I think she had a baby. But I don't know. That's just my guess from what she updated on her little timeline thing, like the, you know, the notifications or whatever. But I think that this needs to be discussed more, because I think there's a lot of fear in the community of having children, partially because we were abused and we had so many horrible things happen to us as children that caused this disorder, that we are scared that we will inflict that on other people, I think, to an extent. Not intentionally, of course, but just because of the programming, and because not all of us have friendly alters. Some of us have alters that are not so great. I am blessed, and most of my alters are pretty down to earth, but not all of us have long tempers to deal with kids, and not all of us are very patient or kind or whatever you want to call it. So I understand the fear totally. I mean, I didn't know that I was having, I didn't know that I had DID when I got pregnant with my oldest child. I was 19 when I got pregnant with her, and now looking back on it, I'm very blessed that my mother was able to help me out, at least in the early years, to make sure that her needs were taken care of and that everything was good for her. She had a very normal childhood, and I can thank my mother for that. But I'm kind of rambling and all over the place, and I apologize ahead of time. But I just wanted to also say that if you like my videos and you want to, I guess, know when more of them are coming out, please make sure that you do subscribe and hit the little bell thing, because I do not have a regular upload schedule. I upload when we feel like it, and I know that it's best to have a regular upload schedule, but I'm not ready to commit to uploading every Friday or uploading every Thursday or whatever. I'm just not there yet. So if you do enjoy our videos and you do want to know what's going on with us, please make sure you like and subscribe and click the little notification bell so you can know when we post a new one. Have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for watching.